The Director General of the National Road Safety Authority, Engineer David Osafo-Adonting, says plans are far advanced to introduce an initiative dubbed Passenger Manifest, which aims at keeping records of every Ghanaian passenger in all the commercial transports. The move is expected to help identify victims in the event of any accident. The move comes days after the fatal accident that claimed the lives of 21 persons on the Joason-Koko Road last Saturday. I've been joined by Engineer David Osafo-Adonting himself for more on this in the studio. Grateful that you were able to make it. First, let's talk about what has necessitated this move, Engineer.
Yeah, thank you very much. I must say we're grateful for this opportunity. Indeed, when it comes to issues related to road traffic crashes, injuries and deaths, these are times that we need to be engaging the public to understand and appreciate the risk we all take on the roads as we move from our origins to our destinations. We have just witnessed a crash, a fatal crash, as you said, from Koko, Konongo, Joaso, the environment, the Praso River Junction. I happened to be there myself, and what I saw, that the situation did not warrant a wrongful overtaking, as was done by the other driver that ended up killing 21 of our compatriots, Ghanaians. In actual sense, the road, the corridor, very straight. You can see the alignment is such that wherever you are, approaching from the north or the south, you can see clearly ahead of you. So it was unnecessary. What actually led him to do this wrongful overtaking? Now, beyond that, we picked all these victims, those who were injured and the dead ones, and moved them to the various hospitals around the area. Unfortunately, the injuries were so severe that it was very difficult to identify any of them. Even if it happens to be a family member, you'll find it very difficult. Because these are buses that have metals and kind of materials hitting each other head-on. With the level, the impact was such that it really demolished many things in the vehicle, to the extent that bodies were mutilated to a large extent. Now, we are learning from the aviation industry, where anytime you and I should board an aircraft traveling across to international destinations, data is taken of you, your profile, the entire profile of your personality is taken, your photos, your videos, and all that, including your name and the rest of that. What it means is that should there be any unfortunate incident moving across in the skies and there should be a crash, you must be known. Your family members must know what has actually happened and who was on board. And it is happening. Yep. Even if there are 200 of you, everyone will be identified. And I think this is where we are coming from. There have been occasions in Ghana where crashes have led to more than 30, 40, 50 deaths at a time. Some of them, they even get bent beyond recognition. Family members may be at home expecting that their member will travel and come back home, especially children and the entire family, and they wouldn't know. We find it very difficult making announcements through the media, telling people to come and identify, and if you have any relative who's traveled, and for 3 days you haven't heard of him, it's not reported to the other side and has also not come back home, then there might be something wrong on the road. So come to this very hospital and come and help us identify. It happened in Cape Coast Takoradi Road, the last time, 2020 thereabout, where about 34 persons died. It also happened in Konongo. And you see, all these things somehow happen around January, February, March, somehow there. And you find families traveling from all over to come and identify them. There are some of them you cannot even identify because they're burnt to ashes. So they just pick some of the ashes and then somehow go to their villages and bury the ashes, just representing that they have done the needful. Mm-hmm. I think this is not the best practice. Yeah. The best practice is that let us know whoever is or was on the bus as it crashed.
Okay.
And if we are able to do that, then we can identify where they are coming from, where they belong to, and who is perhaps the next of kin or somebody that he himself has identified or indicated to us that when this happens, call this personality. Quickly they will move in and come and help us, because otherwise sometimes we are handicapped. And the hospital is also so stressed to the extent that getting bodies into the morgues, you find no space, and we have to place them on the floor, walking around them, and then the entire place becomes a bit chaotic. I think that's the reasoning behind it.
So how do you intend to achieve this? How do you intend, because at the airports, for instance, people come with their passports and what have you, but these are people on boarding commercial vehicles. How do you intend to get their records all together to achieve this?
Yes, currently we started a pilot a couple of months ago, last year, and we are still doing it. If you go to Kaneshi Station, the New Plant Station, and some of the terminals, you get there, and then we ask you of your name, where you're coming from, where you're going, and then you give us the contact, your personal contact, and then the contact of any person you think we should call, should in case there should be a crash. In fact, in the beginning it was very tough, because you know Ghanaians, as if they do not want to hear a crash at all. But it is something that could happen anyway. I think people are beginning to understand and appreciate. So now they are giving us the figures. They are giving us the data. We are compiling the data. The good thing is that we are doing it electronically. So once you give us the information freely and openly, we gather them into an electronic data. And as you move along, we also monitor the movement. Currently, we have installed what we call trackers in most of the commercial vehicles. VIP, VVIP, Metro Mass, Ayalo, all those ones are now, in the next couple of months, will install the devices. What it means is that even as you are on board, we are monitoring your movement in real time, from your origin to your destination. What we are trying to do is that we want to protect human life as best as possible. So we'll be monitoring the driver's behavior and then monitoring the way he's driving in real time, so that we try to prevent something before it happens. They all take the risk. Now, it's a matter of now minimizing the risk before we can do the protection. Now, if you have this data, at any point in time, whoever travels, anytime you travel to somewhere in Ghana, your data will pop up. We will have your profile. And I think this is one very good thing that is going to help all of us, because passengers are people who travel all the time. We're going to go to Easter, and you know the number of people that are going to move around. We don't know anybody. We don't know where they come from, where they hail from, and all what happens on the road. But this time, if we happen to know you, I think it will give us some leverage to be able to monitor your movement at any point in time.
I think some time ago you were advocating for the dualization of our roads. Where are we with that?
I think we've gone very far. As I speak to you, Accra and Nsawam to Apidra is already done, especially Nsawam to Apidra. And trust me, for the past 2 years, when this particular corridor was open to traffic after the dualization, you and I have not come across any head-on collision. And that is exactly why we advocated for. Now, the same thing is happening at Nkoko bypass. Now, the advocacy, you know how far it's taking us. Now, government has taken it upon itself to dualize between Osino, somewhere around Osino, there's a bypass, Enyinem, Enyinesini, and then Konongo. Works have already started. And if you go there, you can see it in real time that dualization is gradually catching up the entire Accra-Kumasi corridor. There is also some dualization that have started on the Aflao stretch, another one on the Winuba Road. So, which means that the advocacy is yielding some positive results. Government is listening, and our money has been voted for the construction to take off. If this is done, trust me, issues of a head-on collision will be a thing of the past. Because it's a best practice across the international world everywhere. One of the best ways of eliminating completely head-on collision is to dualize your roads. It's been too long for Ghana to come this far, but I think that initiating it from where we are, in the next 3 years, we're going to see a big change in the road infrastructure sector.
Engineer David Osafo-Adonte, I'm grateful for your time, and we'll be monitoring how this whole new initiative goes so that we help reduce the carnages on our roads. And that will be it for the moment. We'll take a break. When we return, we'll bring you the very latest from the world of business.